Like whenever I talk about it, it always makes them come out more. If I feel a tick coming on, I'll just say stop. So if I do, just step away for a second, and then I'll let you know when I'm good to carry on.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm Tash.
I'm Matthew.
And we are the owners of Bleeding Hearts Tattoo. We wanted you to step in and maybe feel like you're in your auntie's house.
The vibe in the shop is just really nice and friendly.
These guys are my safe space, they are my best friends.
We wanted everybody to feel comfortable, so regardless of your age, your gender, your like diagnoses.
We have things like fidget toys and disposable earplugs, so if they have like noise or sensory issues.
I definitely think that there is a link between being neurodiverse and getting tattoos.
It's a way for neurodivergent people to express themselves.
I'm Arden, I'm 23, I use he, him pronouns, and I'm an ODP in paediatric theatres. In my neurodiversity, I've been diagnosed with autism and Tourette syndrome. I first started showing signs of tics when I was about 8 years old, but it took me quite a long time to get diagnosed. Like late teens, sort of 14, 15, 16, they ramped up a lot. My tics got more prevalent, and I got diagnosed with OCD. I've got 13 tattoos. My first one is this little ghost that my best friend drew, partly because I just love ghosts, and because my name is Arden Casper, I always get called Little Ghost. So I wanted to get a nice little ghost as my first one.
Hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm all good, thank you. Do you want to come and sit down? Unique New York. Hi, I'm Matthew. I'm 37. I'm suspected autistic and confirmed dyscalculia, and I'm a tattoo artist. Alright, so I'll just show you what I've drawn for you. So based on the drawing you sent me, which was really good.
Thank you.
Normally people send me weird squiggles, but that was actually amazing. So I do a style that you could call engraving style, but it's also known as like woodcut or medieval style artwork. I think I love the way that you can create a piece with a really simple piece that's kind of funny, that's, you know, like a frog dressed as a knight, or I've done like a rat dressed as Gandalf. And people love it, and it's whimsical and it's fun, but then you can also do really big serious pieces with loads of contrast and loads of detail, and they're both really satisfying to do. I've changed the boot a little bit,
Yeah.
but I've pretty much stuck with the same.
No, I really
mouse.
like it.
Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I really like that. Today I'm getting a little rat poking out of a Wellington boot.
It's really cute, yeah, especially the actual boot itself. I like doing things that have like a bit of texture to them. What was this inspired by?
No, I did a play called The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime and played Christopher in it. They don't say in the story exactly what Christopher is diagnosed with, if he's diagnosed with anything, but the way he is written resonates with a lot of autistic people. And the whole play, I think, does a really good job actually of showing a neurotypical audience what it's like existing in a neurodiverse world. And I wanted to get a tattoo to remember that. And if anyone knows the story or knows the play, the sort of classic image is the like dog with the pitchfork. I didn't fancy getting that because I wanted something a bit more subtle about the show. So I drew a little rat coming out of a Wellington boot because Christopher has a pet rat called Toby in the play, and the dog that the play is centred around is called Wellington. So I thought I'd do a little Toby the rat coming out of a Wellington boot, and that's my reminder on my body of something that I was so proud of and a story that I was so passionate about.
Amazing. Cool, right, so if you want to just chill here for a little bit, I'll go and get this all sorted, and then I'll shout you over.
Perfect, thank you.
Awesome. If we're tattooing someone who's got a condition like Tourette's, it can vary quite a lot, so we'll tend to speak to them about what their symptoms are and how they manifest themselves. Some people will twitch and move a lot, some people have verbal tics or physical tics. Arden, do you want to come on over?
Where are you wanting? It's like here
So
or
I was thinking a bit like
lower?
about
Yeah.
here-ish.
Okay.
So the top is sort of near the top of that salmon, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Perfect. Fortunately, my style owes itself to error because it's designed to be etchy and woodcutty. If there's a mistake in there, I can hide it and make it look purposeful instead of an accident.
I was going to say, I actually didn't know you had Tourette's.
Do you not?
No, I had no idea.
Yes, I think swearing is the main misconception, and just assuming that there are things in life that I can't do or can't be safe doing. Things like holding knives for cooking or holding babies, things like that. People assuming that just because I've got Tourette's that I'm gonna, throw something across the room or cause a huge scene, or I can't go somewhere quiet.
Tourette's, generally speaking, in movies and film, TV shows and stuff, is always shown as, I think, the most extreme. The one that comes to mind is, I think his name's Pete. He was in Big Brother. He was very shouty and kind of sweary. I've never met someone with Tourette's who's like that. I've met a couple of people with Tourette's and they all have quite minor tics, and it's normally a little bit of a click or like a whistle.
Okay, go and have a look in the mirror for me.
Yeah.
Let me know if you're happy with it, positioning, size and stuff.
I knew that I wanted to work in healthcare in some capacity from when I was really, really young, and started training to be an Operating Department Practitioner, which is a career that I don't think many people know about. We're quite hidden away. We work mostly in operating theatres, and I really developed an interest in working with children, because I think going for any kind of surgical procedure is such a huge moment in anyone's life, but for a child that's so amplified and can be so scary. The stencil looks so good, so I'm excited to go. Just adjusting the bed so that it'll be in the right position, and then I'll get set up and we'll get going. It's been quite an internal journey, I think, to try and be more comfortable with the tics and to trust that people aren't going to think I'm going to be unsafe, and maybe break that stigma a bit and make people realise that even though I've got Tourette's, I'm good at my job and it doesn't impact my safety at work at all.
So if there's anything that you need me to be aware of with your Tourette's, or anything that I can do to make the experience more comfortable for you, just let me know. Is there anything specific that I need to be aware of?
The main thing is just, if I feel a tic coming on, I'll just say stop. So if I do, just, I'm not being difficult or anything, just step away for a second, and then I'll let you know when I'm good to carry on.
Yeah, no problem.
Hello, I'm Evelyn, I'm 19, I use any pronouns, and I'm a student. I got informally diagnosed very early in secondary school. I got sent to the school counsellor because of my behavioural issues. I was on the wait list for maybe 4 years. I had a quick chat with an adult who asked me if I thought anyone else in my family was autistic, and I confidently said my dad, and so did my mother. After that, they asked me to talk about something I was interested in. I waffled about meatloaf for about an hour, and then they let me go, and that was it.
Hi. See, Evelyn.
Shut your door.
It's not you. It's we've got a dodgy door.
Oh, okay.
My name is Tash. I'm 31, and I am one of the co-owners of Bleeding Hearts Tattoo, and I'm also a tattoo artist. I was at home watching Ink Master. Any of you who have watched it? Questionable show. However, I was watching it with Matt, and I said to him, this is what I want to do. This is what I drew up for you. I was really excited when you said you like the idea of gothic design and religious imagery. Black work, I would say my style is. I really love tattooing, either botanical elements, anything witchy inspired.
I'm getting an eye in sort of a woodcut cross star design. It's really, really cool. It will be my 21st eye on my body. The eyes on the top of my feet are in sets of 3, so I'm counting them as 1 for 1 foot, 1 for the other, instead of 6. So it's a lot of eyes.
I'm going to do all of the outer lines a little bit thicker and have some areas where it's a little bit darker. And then the eye, I want to add in a little bit of stipple shading, because my plan is for the star bit to kind of look like it's in the background, and then the eye to be pushed forward, so it looks really like creepy and cool.
The eye design is from the podcast or audio drama The Magnus Archives. It surrounds these fears of humanity that have become entities, and one of them is the eye. It's called The Ceaseless Watcher, which is super cool. Love that.
I've not listened to it, but Matt and I said that it sounds really interesting, and that he thinks that he'd like it, so I think we're going to give it a listen.
There's a lot of queer neurodiverse characters of all ages, of all sexualities, of all races and religions, and they all go through the same thing and they all react in so many different ways, so there's someone that you will really relate to.
I'll print this out in a few different sizes for you, and then we'll have a play around in front of the mirror and see where you'd like it to go. Is that all okay?
Yes, there's definitely a link between tattoos and neurodivergency. I think because people will treat us like we're alternative, whether we look it or not, we might as well look it.
We show so much expression in the way that we dress and the way that we look, whether that is getting tattoos, getting piercings, dyeing our hair, changing our wardrobes. I think it just helps us to find who we really feel like we are.
And I also think with like special interests, you know, obviously neurotypical people have things that they love and are really passionate about. For an autistic person, there's such a deep connection with it that for me, like I say, I want it etched into my bones, and the closest thing I can get is having it etched into my skin.
Have you got any plans for your other leg?
So, yeah, I think I do have a plan for this big main strip. There's a Birmingham clock tower at uni. Have you seen Old Joe?
No,
He's
but I can like...
basically just one big clock tower and then a big square. A little bit like a Big Ben. Even when I was very, very young, sort of, you know, early primary school, I'd been attaching myself to characters in books and stuff who are neurodivergent or who are often thought to be. I read Sherlock Holmes when I was very, very young. And yeah, I was very hyperlexic because I loved reading, and I thought, this is how I'm going to make friends. I'm going to speak like Sherlock Holmes for the rest of my life. This'll work. I think it was pray tell was the phrase I used, which must have made me sound so obnoxious, but kids at that age think you're cool when you do that. They're like, oh my god, you're like a character. And then you get a bit older and kids realise, ooh, characters aren't real. This is strange. I think it's definitely around the age of like 10 to 12 that kids start noticing something is off.
I'm going to give you a little shave first of all, babe, just to get rid of any baby hairs on the back of your leg.
Oh yeah, it's not even baby hairs, it's just full on hair. Secondary was not fun. I struggled mostly with maths. I've got dyscalculia and numbers don't really mean anything to me, so time, space, amounts, all of that is just sort of nonsense in my head, like a different language. I specifically remember telling one of the maths teachers that I was learning more from my book than I was from him, which I realise now is not very nice to say to a teacher who's trying their hardest, but at the time I believed it to be true, so I thought, well, I'm trying to help him out here, you know. I'm just trying to explain that what I'm doing is actually really helpful to me, just reading Jane Eyre when I should be doing maths.
I think so, but I just want the second opinion.
Can I get you just to spin that way, just ever so slightly for me?
I'm deaf as a post, so I can hear people saying things, but I'm not sure what it is.
We are checking to make sure that your design is straight.
Cool, they're checking to make sure my design is straight.
I think what is probably throwing your eye off is the fact that this point wobbles ever so slightly in that direction.
Yeah. Okay, turn around, have a look in the mirror, babe.
Whoa.
You happy?
Yes.
I'm happy.
Yay.
Amazing.
More eyes. Everyone at work was like, you getting another tattoo? I was like, yeah. They're like, what are you getting? I was like, well...
I'll give
So-
you 3 guesses, but you'll only need 1.
Yeah, I'm a little bit... To be fair, all my others are music-based, so it could have been music-based, but it isn't. It's another eye.
How does, like, you know, you say you can feel it coming on.
Yeah.
How does it feel?
So some of the tics I don't get any warning and they just come out. Like whenever I talk about it always makes them come out more. So a lot of mine, as you'll see, are all like small jerky movements, so motor tics that are in my neck or my hands. And then I make some smaller sounds as well, like tongue clicking or rolling my eyes or sort of stretching my face out, things like that. I think see more people with Tourette's in theatre would be great. I know a few of my friends in theatre have also got Tourette's, who are fantastic performers. And I don't know if their experience is the same as mine, but I find that when I'm on stage and I know what I'm supposed to be doing with my body and I'm playing a character and I feel completely immersed, that it just feels like it's not that the tics aren't there, but they just sort of are more distant for a while, and I just feel more in control of my own body. Matt, have you got any theatre experience?
I was quite like a theatrical kid. Like I used to go into the Sea Life Centre and stand at the massive shark wall and hum the theme tune from Tomb Raider. How my parents didn't know I wasn't autistic back then, who knows? But when I always really liked doing like fantasy make-believe stuff.
Yeah.
When I was a little bit older, I started going to it was like a theatre college for kids.
It was really good because it felt like somewhere I could kind of express myself without feeling weird about it. Unfortunately, it didn't last long because my dad wasn't a particularly good dad and would tend to like stop paying for things. So it was the same with like karate, and I learned how to play the drums, but I only got taught for about half a year because he stopped paying for it. Unfortunately, when that happened with the theatre thing, I hadn't pursued it since, and as I've got older and dealt with a lot of the kind of ostracizing behaviour from people, it's dulled my spark a bit, so I'm not the person that I think I should have been, which then I suppose leads back to my son. I want to make sure that he is the person he wants to be, and seeing him growing up, it's like looking at myself through a time lens, because he's literally exactly the same as I was as a kid.
It's looking good. It's looking very cute.
Being autistic is hard, but it's also amazing because I like the fact that now I don't worry too much about what people think about me, because you know, if you like me or you don't, that's that really. As long as my clients are happy and the people who I care about are happy, that's all I care about.
Cool. Right, we're all done. I'll just give it a little clean.
Before I had any tattoos, I thought I would get one and that would be it. I thought I'd get the ghost, and that had been what I'd wanted for years, and that would be it. But then I really liked how in control of my own body it made me feel. Being able to then look in the mirror and see actually all these different pieces of artwork that I've chosen made me feel so much more connected to my body and so much more in control of what was happening to me. Really good memory. I'm glad that I've got the reminder of it.
Pretty much everyone I know who is artistic in some way also does seem to be neurodivergent.
Take a picture of the tattoos like straight men with a fish.
And then you got blood.
Yeah.
I've seen someone do that. Yeah, they've like edited out the tattoo and held it. Yeah.
Just wanted to challenge the misconception people have about Tourette's, and that yes, I have Tourette's, but I can sit still enough for a tattoo. And actually, I find my tics normally like reduce. I think while I'm having them, I think that the physical input sort of does help a bit, and that I'm not limited in what I can do. Like obviously it affects me, and have hard days and you have better days, but that I think the idea of what people think Tourette's is just isn't the case for the vast majority of people.
Are you ready, babe?
Yeah. Uni has been so much better. You tick one box on a thing that says, yep, I'm diagnosed autistic, and it opens up a whole host of different pathways and different teachers who can help you. I was given a support worker like the first week of uni who helped me from things such as how to figure out exam timings to like how to use the washing machine. She was lovely. Big up Megan. So
We got found there.
yeah.
My son's at nursery at the minute. He's got like an unofficial support worker, I guess. Like he has a one-to-one. Ziggy is autistic. He doesn't have a formal diagnosis yet because of his age. So we had an assessment with speech and language, but because he's hyperlexic, so he's 4 years old, but he speaks at sort of like a 6-year-old age. They won't give him a formal diagnosis. So right now we're in limbo.
But then he's really lucky because he's got, you know, you to sort of fight for him, I guess.
Yeah. He's got 2 neurodivergent parents.
There we are.
I realised that I had ADHD in 2021 after the birth of my son. And I did some research and I found that it's really common for people who have children to kind of realise that they're neurodivergent, and it's because our brains just can't hold on to everything that comes with having a child. Originally I had a diagnosis of depression and then anxiety, and then I think I was in my early 20s when I got the diagnosis of borderline personality disorder.
Oh, are you borderline as well?
I am.
Cool.
Does yours stem from childhood trauma too?
Probably. That's definitely been the hardest thing. I think coupled with the autism, I've already got very black and white thinking, and then the borderline is categorised by black and white thinking, so it's just everything is completely lacking nuance a lot of the time, which can be very stressful.
I can kind of switch off my empathy, and I can become quite cold in situations where I feel unsafe. So for example, if I'm arguing with somebody, or if I feel like I'm in a dangerous situation, it's almost like a switch goes off in my brain, and it almost turns me into a completely different person, which can be quite scary.
I think, to be fair, the autism's definitely linked, isn't it? Like, if you're bullied from such a young age, something is gonna be affected.
It alters your brain.
There needs to be more in place to stop bullying. So I know that the school I went to, a couple years after I left, got an Ofsted report that was truly terrible in terms of safeguarding and bullying and all that kind of thing. So I know that I had very bad luck in where I went to school, but at the same time, all schools are not doing enough. We watched, a 3-minute video in PSHE about don't bully gay people, and that was it. They were like, right, that's your education, don't do it.
In mainstream schools, they just need the extra support. And I think it's important so that those kids don't go under the radar. They aren't just labelled as problematic or difficult. Their brains just work differerly, and they need support to make sure that they thrive in an environment that isn't built for them. We are all done, babe. Wahoo! So we need to get a really good clean, and then I'll let you hop up and have a look in the mirror.
Lovely job. I always think of like when they go on the chase and they lose and they go, I've had a lovely day out, Bradley. That's what they always say. Even if they've lost like £5 million, it's always, I've had a lovely day out, Bradley.
It's a great thing that more people are getting diagnosed, because it means there's more awareness of these conditions, there's more information available, there are more resources. That whole narrative of, this didn't exist in my day. My dad has 2 sheds full of woodworking tools that he's never used. If that man is not autistic...
It's definitely good for me. I'm somebody who really likes labels. I like to put things in little boxes. It makes me feel very secure. The worst part, I think, about growing up neurodivergent is that you know something's off, but you don't know what, and everybody else knows that too. And so it's nice to have a label that isn't just off-putting. Sure, I can still be off-putting, but there's other reasonings behind it. You know that you aren't just... There's not, so to speak, something wrong with you. There's just something different.
I think it looks so cool.
It is so cool. Nice.
Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Thank you. You did it.
And you should be so proud of yourself. You smashed it.
Yay. It's been very lovely. Everyone's been so nice, and I love getting tattooed. It's just kind of cathartic in a strange way.
Being part of a neurodiverse family is wild but fantastic. I'm Em. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm an SEN and learning support assistant in school. I had siblings that were both autistic, but both different ends of the spectrum. My mum was like, oh yeah, that doesn't quite fit you. And then got to secondary and school was like, there's something there, we need to support her. And they did, and it took 3.5 years to get my diagnosis because it was through COVID. And then when I was 16, I was finally diagnosed with a dual diagnosis of both the autism and ADHD. I find it hard because one day I can be so organised, I need to know what's going on. The next day I'll wake up and book a flight to Poland and off I go. The ADHD is just like, yeah, go for it, and just like absolutely raging. So it's kind of, every day feels like I'm on a boat and I'm just bobbing on the sea.
Hi, are you Em?
Yes, I am.
Nice to meet you. I'm Polly. If you want to take a seat for me.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Polly. Wait, what was it? Polly, my age, pronouns, and that I'm a tattoo artist. Yeah. Hi, I'm Polly. I'm 28. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm a tattoo artist. I've got the design here. You can take that and have a look. I prefer to do, I'd say like illustrative. I like to tattoo things that I am inspired by outside of work. So anything botanical like mushrooms, leaves, flowers, tarot cards. So what I've done is just sort of naturally added where the shading would go. On this design I've not put the shading in the tulips. We'll be doing some shading on there, but I didn't want to do it too heavy, so nice and light. The tattoo I'm doing today is a Triceratops skull with some tulips included. What's the significance of the dinosaur tattoo?
I have a love for all dinosaurs, but a Triceratops is my favourite. I think it's quite like an intricate skull, so it looks really nice. And then like the tulips are like my favourite flower.
When I was thinking about getting it, I looked at cartoon dinosaurs, I've looked at like realistic, I'm like, no, I want to go back to the basic skull, and it's like a very true representation of like what dinosaurs were like.
After many years, the fossils and the skulls and everything, like the bones, were discovered, and that's what was always there. I wanted the flowers because it kind of goes over it as like the pretty image on the outside, and it kind of shows like like when people mask and how it's like covering it up, and you don't see the autism and like everything through that.
I also quite like dinosaurs. I've got a T-Rex skull on my shoulder as well,
wow.
so this is really up my street.
All my tattoos like have a meaning. So like my first tattoo was a treble clef and a bass clef that links together to make a heart. And then I came back from the States in September and was like, yeah, I'm gonna get some more. And I've now got a campfire and like my little chipmunk for like my time, because the amount of chipmunks in America is crazy.
Is there one that shouts out to you more?
Cold.
I probably wouldn't I probably wouldn't go any smaller.
No.
Just because of the detail that's in
Yeah,
it.
I just want to see how that fits, but they're both like the size that I was thinking.
Okay, good. I think it's a way for neurodivergent people to express themselves, but in a non-verbal way. So it sort of gives them that security of, you know, I'm showing the world who I am, but I don't necessarily have to verbally speak about it.
You can see the difference in people between the different tattoos that they get. So yeah, I really like that. I'm like, yes, like I'm expressing myself.
I'm just thinking maybe we could wrap it with tape around the side, and then that way it will sort of pull. It's just whether or not you're comfortable with that feeling.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Do you get nervous before a tattoo?
Not really. It's more like I'm excited and then I'm like, what am I doing? Kind of thing. Like, it's not really like nerves as in, oh, why am I doing this? It's just like a, ah.
Particularly autistic people that I've tattooed have enjoyed the fact that when getting tattooed, they can sort of control that sensory input that they have on their bodies. So I guess in like a similar way to stimming. What I'll do before I pop it on is just clean and shave the area.
You know, the worst one for being shaved was when I got the one above like the crease there.
Yeah.
Because when the hairs grew back, they were like prickling. It like, I was like, what is going on? Like, this hurts so. It didn't hurt, but it was tickling.
It's
like,
not a nice feeling though,
no.
is it?
For me, it's just like time. Like have a rough like how long it's gonna take. Do we need to take a break in between? Like, and also for me, I can sit still, but when you're that close to my body, I am probably going to move. So, just being open, saying I'm not very confident tattooing on moving bodies. I'd be like, okay, maybe you're not the person for me, kind of thing. And I don't move lots, but enough that it could go wrong, I guess.
Tickles. It's a weird feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Luckily, so far, we've not made any mistakes whilst tattooing. I think, especially because people tend to twitch anyway during tattoos, it's a normal thing that happens. I think as a tattoo artist, you almost gain like a sixth sense. I'll do a little bit first, just so you get used to the feeling.
Yeah.
And then we'll get going, if that's okay with you. How's that?
Yeah. Good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
Hello, I'm Duncan, I'm 41 years old and I do care work. I've got combined ADHD and just over a year ago I was diagnosed autistic as well, which Yeah, it's a strange thing, simultaneously really new, but also something I've been living with for sort of 41 years. And I'm just having to completely recontextualise all the things, how I see the world, how I respond to the world, and yeah, it's
How you doing?
interesting.
Good, thank you. Excited about today?
Awesome. Come and grab a seat.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Matthew. I'm 37. I'm suspected autistic and confirmed dyscalculia, and I'm a tattoo artist.
Right, what you got for me?
So, based on what you sent me,
Yes,
drawn this up
that was
for
exactly.
you. So we've added some of the longer lines. Duncan is having 2 identical suns on his knees, so within my style, but a little bit dark to cover the whole like kneecap and surrounding areas.
I just think it's like the placement and the design is going to look really bold and striking. They're in a sort of medieval style, which is something I like. Again, it sort of links to my love of history, my old illustrations and stuff like that. And I think it's going to be a really good starting point for, building up my legs with various pieces by artists that I really like.
Is there any particular meaning behind the tattoo or reason you've gone for this?
I love the style, the sort of medieval style. I find it, it sort of links to like stuff I love about history and things like that. Didn't really think about it, but obviously we just come to the shortest time of the year, and where you don't see the sun much, and it's just quite nice to have a sort of reminder it's coming back. I've always loved getting outdoors. Again, didn't realise until more recently that it was a really important part of how I regulate myself. I love fractal patterns, which you just find all around you in nature. I love the shades of green and natural colours. Looking up in the branches, the leaves, looking down at the ground. I love fungi and mushrooms. I love moss and plants and animals. I think in future I'd love to be more involved in working in sort of conservation or management of environments and things like that, because it just brings a lot to my life. It's going to look great. It'll make me smile.
Yeah, it'll look cool. Awesome. Okay, well, have a sit here, have yourself a drink and snacks if you want, and I'll shout you when I'm ready.
All right, Sam. Thank you.
I do really like being out in nature. I think it depends on the circumstance. So sometimes we love to take our son out to nature. That can be stressful in itself because, they're little flight risks and they just want to pick up everything and walk dead slow. And I think part of my neurodivergence is patience. When we're having a good day, I do really enjoy it. Our most recent one was we were going through a forest and I was looking for those little red mushrooms because I'd never seen one in real life and I always wanted to see one. And I eventually found about 8. It was great.
That's the kind of boot I want. Like that.
They're Chelsea boots.
Yeah, but they're not pointy Chelsea boots.
Dealers.
What are they called?
Dealer boots.
Dealer boots.
That's what farmers call them. These are Birkenstocks. Yeah, I got
Oh,
them because they're not pointy.
Nice. The main concerns with tattooing knees is they can be quite painful. So whether he'll be able to sit for both knees is going to be, we don't know. It might be good, it might be not. Some people will surprise you. Did you moisturise?
I've been moisturising 3 times a day for the last week.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's because the skin on knees can be quite dry.
Yeah.
Especially like you say you do a job that I think involves outdoorsy stuff a bit. If you're
this time of year when you're either outside and it's cold or you come in and everything's like blasted with heat.
Yeah, skin dry.
Everything it's really dry. Yeah.
Do you shave a lot of knees and that?
I do, unfortunately. It's kind of weird.
This is the first for me.
Shave a lot of everything.
Smooth. Yeah.
Tash, can I have your anatomical help for a second?
I don't know if it looks too far over. I know this is going to be weird, can I get you to slightly bend your knee for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, see when his leg's like that, it looks pretty spot on. You do just have very big muscles here, don't you?
Yeah, muscular legs.
When I had my knees tattooed, the guy that did it, he stenciled them about 7 times. And on the last one, he got really angry with me. And he was like, if I can't do it this time, I'm not doing it. And I was really young and I was like, okay. Because I didn't know any different or any better at the time. But
Your fault for having knees.
Yeah.
I've been tattooing for about 7 years and 5 of those have been made up of being aware of the problems in the industry caused by things like abuse and sexual assault and just inappropriate behaviour from other people in the industry, and those do tend to be other men.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Lovely. So my kind of goal and ethos around the stuff like that is to make sure that I can evidence to people that I'm not that kind of man and that they will be safe with me.
I tend to ruffle a lot of feathers in the tattoo industry with my opinions. Not bad opinions, by the way, good opinions, or what I was
Well, yeah, I've seen some of that, like you're involved in the Jordan project and things like that.
Yeah. I'm part of a group that's working to try and make differences in the industry, and unfortunately the tattoo industry can sexualise people quite a lot, and it's inappropriate and it needs to change.
I think that sounds like a really good idea, like, because I've got a friend who's been on the receiving end of like an abusive tattooer.
Yeah.
And it's pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
I just think it's really important for men to speak up about a lot of the problems that are out there, because not enough men do. It's mostly the women.
Yes, it's a hard and difficult time to be a man, but I think it's a hard and difficult time to be anyone. Like, whatever I'm going through is a piece of piss compared to someone who might be trans or might be gay and is seeing all the hatred and vitriol that's out in it's just common now. It's okay for all of that absolute hatred and shit to be flung at people who are just good people, normal people trying to live their lives.
And there are quite a few people in the industry who do hold quite a toxic mentality towards this, what they would refer to as woke agenda.
And yeah, I suppose at the minute we're seeing a lot of pushback against that. Things that we sort of took for granted of rights and acceptance that I thought would just be here for good, because they were, and it turns out they're not. And I find that scary and upsetting. People in my sort of woke lefty crowd, mates, for the most part, are just kind people, good people, curious.
So, what do you do for work?
So currently I'm working in a special ed school. I'm a learning support system, which means I'm in the classroom working with 9 teenage boys. It's a lot of fun, You've got the testosterone going, and every day is so different with them, but also so similar. Like you keep to a set routine, but we all know the routine ends up going out the window, and that upsets one child, and the other child's like, yay! I've got a lot of kids that are like autistic.
Yeah.
And then a few kids with Down syndrome. They are so fun to work with.
Yeah.
It's really enjoyable, rewarding, and I feel like I'm using my knowledge like to the best, and people hopefully I'm changing their lives in a really good way.
Before I did tattooing, I worked at a special education needs college.
Oh yeah.
So working with special education needs learners and students, we would support them throughout their day. There's nothing quite like knowing that you've helped a person or a student achieve a goal that they have been working on for however long.
The children I'm with, if they ask for a biscuit and they don't normally talk to me, I'm like, you can have a biscuit.
Yeah.
Well done for communicating. I mean, if they ask to go on a run, I can't necessarily go and take them on a run.
But you can have a biscuit.
Yeah, it's finding a means and a way to make it work. Before the school I'm at now, I was working in the mainstream. So you had your children with additional needs in a setting that wasn't made for them.
Mainstream colleges and schools especially, obviously they have to sort of follow certain rules and restrictions, and it's about learning, and especially when I was in school and in college it was go and sit at the back, you're ruining it for everybody else. And I think there's not that special care and consideration.
They're going there to help their future, their lives outside of school, rather than school sets you a mainstream school sets you up to work, a SEN school sets you up to live. Were you working with them to go into supported living, to go into work? I'd also love to see some more support for people that are going into workplace, first jobs and everything. You're almost thrown in the deep end, just that schools say, oh, we're setting you up to go to university and work, but then what do you actually do? All of a sudden you're on your own.
Do you find that having that experience in a college, does it help with your home life then? You said that you've got family there.
Yeah, definitely. So now there's coping strategies, like things that we do with the kids, get them out, that I now do with my sister. Being part of a neurodiverse family is wild but fantastic. As I grew up, I was very much looking after like my older brother because my sister had a lot more meltdowns and my brother struggled with the noise, and I always felt like I was there for them. My dad's diagnosis was after my siblings but before mine. So he was diagnosed as autistic, and which for me explained a lot because I never understood my dad, which is kind of weird to say. But I always knew, like I didn't have that connection with him. So then when he was diagnosed, it was kind of like, oh, that does make sense. And my mum, like, she doesn't have a diagnosis of anything, but for her, she feels like it's too long to go down the pathway. Now it's awesome because you have my older brother that's trying to get on with his degree while my younger sister's running around the house and wrecking everything, and I come in from work and I'm like, what's going on? And it's chaos, but a good chaos.
You are diagnosed with ADHD, am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. My doctor has actually suspected that I have ADHD. I think for me a lot of it is sensory, so even as a child, particular foods, tags in clothing, the way things feel would quite often cause meltdowns, and I'm particularly anxious. I got diagnosed with anxiety and depression quite young, but a couple of years back I went to my doctor's to speak to her, as I frequently did, about my mental health, and was just sort of talking to her, and she looked at me and she was like, you may have been misdiagnosed, I think you might be ADHD. And she suggested for me to get a diagnosis, but I haven't actually taken that step yet. So do you feel like having the diagnosis helps you?
I mean, it doesn't matter if you have a diagnosis or not, I don't think.
Yeah.
But having that diagnosis explains sometimes why you are the way you are. I can use my knowledge to like support myself in a way.
So at the minute it's not something that I'm like actively pursuing. There are other things that I want to do first before thinking about whether it's something that I actually need or not. I'm going to give it a clean and then you can have a look at the finished tattoo.
Yay!
Cool, so come on over to the mirror.
Looks really good. I can't wait for it to heal. We'll see like what it's like then. Wow. You know, like when you don't expect something to look so good? Like, and it just does.
Are you happy with it?
Yeah, I am.
Amazing.
Working with Polly was really good. Like, I definitely want to come back and get another tattoo with her if she's available.
This is going to be one of the last tattoos that I'm doing in the studio, because in January I'm actually flying to Australia for a year. Thankfully, the guys here like me enough to let me back when I come home, which is really nice. It makes me feel welcome and loved. But yeah, I'm going to be the other side of the world.
What's your favourite tattoo that you've got?
Yeah, I think it'd be my back piece. Big skull with a couple of flowers. I like skulls, they look pretty cool. Collector, hoarder. Yeah, I mean, I'm always fascinated when I'm outside about things I find. So there's a lot of pebbles, a lot of bones. I like art, you know, I can't afford anything expensive, but I love picking up pieces of people that I like and photographers that I like. I've collected many things over the years.
I'm also a bit of a collector. It's almost like a little addiction. I've had it before with loads of things. Before I met Tash, I collect watches, which were really expensive. And obviously I didn't know why, I just wanted them and I had them, never wore them. I hate wearing them because they feel horrible on me, but I used to buy them because I like the way they looked. It was books, first edition books, Discworld, Terra Pratchett stuff. I've collected loads of stuff. There was a point where I collected and grew succulents. I had a whole greenhouse.
Fossils and things like that, you know, these are all things that I've loved since I was a kid. And actually I've realised that's never gone away. And I think that's part of going back to the whole, you know, diagnosis, how has it helped, that's helped me to zone in on what do I actually love, what do I like, and going back to that stuff again and sort of refinding it, which is, you know, really nice to do.
what made you go for a diagnosis for autism. Is it autism you've got?
Yeah. I've got both.
I've got
all of it.
Like a Pokemon card.
Yeah.
Collect them.
Both of my sort of diagnoses came as a result actually of ex-partners looking into it, read some books, find out more about it, and then as I was sort of reading these books I went, oh, that's me. Well, I think it was more a case of I was reading all these things, I was like, but that's just normal, isn't it? Like everyone's like that, aren't they? And you know, people were looking at me funny when I said that. Because for so long I was, you know, so many things I was struggling with, like a lot of health issues like chronic fatigue and, you know, mental health issues and stuff as well.
Yeah.
For no obvious reason. You know, why am I doing the same work as everyone else but they're all fine, whereas I'm permanently exhausted? Even when you talk about stuff like reasonable adjustments at work, I bounced between a lot of jobs where I was just trying to keep a job, hold it down and pay the bills, as opposed to being able to, you know, pursue what I really wanted to do. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of grief about that. It's how things could have been different.
That last bit is always something I thought, especially with jobs. I always used to think to myself, why do I hate every job I do? Like, why is every job so exhausting, and why do I feel so overwhelmed and overstimulated by every single thing I do, yet everyone else seems perfectly happy?
Yeah.
And I just thought for years I was just miserable. I just thought I was a naturally miserable person.
Tash says that I've not got, well, she says I've not got resting bitch face, I've got resting bitch voice, but I also do think I have resting bitch face too, because it depends on what I'm doing. Sometimes if I'm in deep thought or deep conversation, I can look really angry, even if I'm not. Problems I had in my past was I worked in a lot of call centres, which is definitely the wrong job for me. And they try and train you to put on this fake voice, and they'll tell you, oh, you should smile on the phone because the customer can hear it. But I can't fake who I am. I've never been able to do that. Unfortunately, part of the autism experience, I think, for a lot of people, as I know I'm not the only one who has that problem. Yeah.
The fact that I'm quite a big guy, I'm sort of quite tall, I've got the tattoos and the shaved head. Again, with my tone of voice and things, I can sometimes be perceived as being rude or angry or aggressive when I'm not. But then often, you know, people respond to that negatively. I don't like that, and then that's where we end up. I suppose people often think, or certainly when I was younger, because of the sort of person I am and the things I was interested in, like sports and stuff, that I am just a blokey bloke, and that was never something that I felt on the inside. That was usually something I kept to myself. I suppose you call it masking, you know, just trying to fit in. And that involved being around people and conversations and topics that I really didn't like and made me really, you know, really uncomfortable. But you just sort of go along with what's expected and follow the script that everyone else is following because, you know, I was trying to fit in. And that's one of the things that's nice now, is knowing that I don't have to do that. I don't have to follow that script. I can seek out the people and sort of situations and conversations that I like, and I can completely avoid the ones I don't, which is good.
Did you go through a period where you thought you were just depressed or anxious rather than anything else?
Well, yeah, I've when particularly in my younger years, like 20s and everything, I had quite a few periods of quite serious depression. You know, stuff that involved being, you know, sort of hospital visits at times and things like that, and there was never particularly a reason for it, you know. I was just incredibly overloaded all the time. There's a lot of talk nowadays about sort of male loneliness epidemic. I'm not sure how much of that is a thing and how much it is just a loneliness epidemic. I would certainly encourage people to, like I said earlier, find community. I think that's a big thing. There's talk groups like Andy's Man Club. You know, if you've got an interest in something, you can usually find a group around that. And I think it's about just talking to people and being open. You know, when someone says, how are you? Don't say you're fine if you're not. Actually tell someone. That can be risky, you know. That doesn't always go well. But I suppose I would encourage people to find someone who they can have that conversation with.
Well done. Do you want to go and have a look in the mirror?
Absolutely, yeah.
What do you think?
It looks brilliant, yeah, thank you so much.
Welcome.
Yeah, it looks absolutely fantastic.
Awesome.
So good, I might get another.
Well, amazing. Yeah, well, we'll definitely get you in to do the other knee.
So you've got a matching pair. That would be really cool.
Yeah, so we're going to come back and get the other one done and get a matching pair. So halfway there. It's been a really good experience all round. And it's nice to be able to talk to someone, in a similar sort of place. Someone who's been through similar things, but also different stuff as well. And it's just nice to be able to talk freely.
What are you doing, Steve?
Not much. I think go home, have see my family, see my brother, have a catch up. That'll be good, and have some food. I think a quiet night. So I'm done for the day.
Hi, I'm Sebastian. I'm 28 years old. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm a gentleman of leisure. I don't work because I'm disabled, but I volunteer on a queer literature and arts magazine called Snowflake. I have inattentive type ADHD diagnosed and high suspicions of autism. I was about halfway to be a secondary school maths teacher, and then I just started getting really tired, getting very foggy, eventually had to quit teaching and have been sort of signed off sick and officially disabled since then. Took about 2-3 years to get diagnosed, but eventually I saw a rheumatologist who said, yep, you're hypermobile, you have fibromyalgia, you have chronic pain, you have this, you have that. And then I slowly learned to pace myself, to avoid the things that trigger a crash and a big sort of fatigue flare-up. And a lot of those things are the things that interact in this really awkward way with having ADHD. So, and autism, if I'm overstimulated, it will physically exhaust me to an unreasonable degree.
Morning.
Hello.
Hi. I'm Teddy, nice to meet you.
Sebastian, good to meet you.
Good to meet you, take a seat for me. Hi, I'm Teddy.
I am 27, my pronouns are they, them, and I'm a tattoo artist. Every single Saturday morning, like clockwork, my dad would watch Soccer AM, and he'd just been channel hopping and found Miami Ink. By the end of the episode, I was sat about this far away from the television with my jaw on the floor, just absolutely mesmerised. So, I will show you what I've got drawn up. Obviously, it's very similar to the original reference that you did send me, with it being a realism piece. I work in a wide range of styles, but my personal favourite is mixing either colour realism or black and grey realism with kind of like watercolour and painterly style. And I really like the juxtaposition of the two, the fact that they are two completely different styles, but then when you blend them together they work really, really well. Yeah, I've not changed anything about the actual badge, but what I have changed is the drop shadow. I've just made it a little bit softer because in the original reference picture it was a really heavy shadow.
Today I'm getting a comm badge from Star Trek, which is probably very stereotypical nerdery. It's just sort of the hallmark of Starfleet, of everything in Star Trek. I'm specifically getting the design that was used in a later series called Deep Space Nine and in Voyager. And Deep Space Nine was probably my favourite. A lot of people call it, fully automated space communism. It's a post-scarcity society, there's no money. The only reason they're out there is to help people and to advance science. I think it looks great.
Yeah, happy with that. Where's it going? It's going on the chest.
On the
isn't it?
chest, right where a badge would be, basically.
Nice. Unfortunately, I probably should have watched them before this, shouldn't I? I do know that it explores a lot within non-conformity in a lot of different ways, like whether it's like non-conformity in the way you present yourself, in the way you dress, in the way you look, in your gender.
That show had characters in it who were not explicitly trans, but let's face it, they were. A symbiotic worm who changes host body regularly and so has experience being both a man and a woman, and this is just a perfectly normal thing. And she introduces herself to someone who calls her him and by an old name, and then goes, no, actually it's Jadzia now. I'm a woman now. And they're like, oh great, cool, good to see you, old friend. They couldn't do that. They couldn't actually have trans characters in the show back then, but they could do that.
What kind of size are you thinking? I assume that you probably want something that's a little bit more like realistic to the size that the badge would actually be, so you wouldn't want to go like huge with it.
Yeah, you can hold the badge in the palm of your hand. What I love about tattoos is that it's a very visible symbol of bodily autonomy. You fly in the face of social convention on what bodies should look like. You choose what aspects of yourself you want to make public, what interests you want to share.
This kind of size I think is decent.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to go bigger.
Yeah, that's
that
not a problem at all.
I definitely think that there is a link between being neurodiverse and getting tattoos. I am pretty convinced I have autism and ADHD. I do think I would benefit from a diagnosis at some point in the future, but it's not something that's like super pressing for me now. So it is kind of on a back burner because at the moment my gender identity is what's more important to me medically.
I think that anyone seeking diagnosis should think very carefully about what they're going to gain from it. For me, being trans, I have now chosen not to get an autism diagnosis because there is such a history of putting people like us on lists to deny autonomy, deny medical care.
Do you mind me asking how long ago you had surgery?
Like 7-8 years now.
Oh nice, so it's been a while then.
The high statistical rate of autism in the trans community can be really easily explained if you recognise that the data being sampled is utter rubbish, because there is no other minority group in the world that has to see 2 psychiatrists and be assessed to get medical care. So obviously, any person with neurodiversity who is trans is going to have that picked up, whereas cis people, it will fly under the radar much more often. So there's your data's already nonsense.
Issues surrounding like trans healthcare and stuff makes it so taboo to even speak about what the options are. I have known that I'm non-binary for a good, well, my whole life really, but I didn't have the words to conceptualise it. It wasn't until I spoke to other non-binary people about their experience that I was like, hang on a minute, this is very similar. And then over the last few years, I've just kind of been slowly trying to come to terms with it and figure out what exactly that means for me. I will run for a quick smoke and then I'll come back in, get all my inks out ready and get like a pillow for the bed just so that you are as comfortable as possible. And then when I am ready for you, I'll shout you.
Brilliant.
Real.
I'll have a sandwich.
Fantastic.
I'm Lou Strong, I'm 31, my pronouns are she, they. I'm a musician. I'm ADHD and a bit autistic. It's one of those things where you're sort of growing up thinking, well, if I was, I'd know about it, right? But then, like, kids will tell you you're different. Like, if you've got a diagnosis or not. After school, after I'd made friends, come out as trans and started getting into the queer community, and there's like a lot of neurodiversity in that scene. Hanging out with people becoming peer-reviewed, as they like to tell me. Hi.
Are you Lou?
I'm Lou. Hi.
Cool, if you want to take a seat.
This is my partner Ellen.
Hi, nice to meet you. How are you guys?
I'm grand.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm Robin, I'm 26 and I'm a tattoo artist from Nottingham. I actually the design. I do a lot of different styles, black work, smaller colour pieces, just a load of different things really, like fine line, whatever people want, I can normally do it. So my idea was to probably just do one, holding one star.
I'm getting Princess Peach, sort of as she is from Mario 64, which is like a massive special interest of mine ever since I was a baby. Like, my mum's friend used to bring his Nintendo 64 over, and I would beg him to play Mario 64. I didn't want to play it ever. I just wanted someone else to play it so I could watch. And I would beg them, please, please, please play Mario 64 so I can watch.
With this tattoo, it's pretty easy going in terms of flat colour. There's just some parts where, to get the low poly effect, I need to darken the shades of the same colour I'm using and try and get the 3D poly sort of shape. So that's the only part really that I'd have to like really lock in and focus on.
I think that looks super cute.
Yeah, and you're happy to have an outline? Just
Yeah.
Awesome. What size were you thinking of doing it? About hand size, did you say?
Yeah, maybe like, so like here, yeah, about hand size.
Yeah.
Peach is just this cool, like, super femme, is like, I don't know, she's badass. She makes me happy.
If you need any fidget toys or snacks or drinks, we do have some. There's also earplugs if you do need some.
Thank you.
I think there's a link between neurodiversity and like loving tattoos. I mean, everyone's different and there's a lot of different types of like neurodivergent people, but a lot of the times they do go hand in hand. The creative side of things and neurodivergency, tattoos are a big part of that, and self-expression is a big thing.
not invisible anymore. We're ready for tonight.
Yeah, it sounds about as good as George Gattis.
I'm gonna send that to you.
Day to day of being neurodiverse, I think I'm fairly lucky because I'm sort of surrounded myself with other neurodiverse people, and so I don't really know what a neurotypical. I don't have a job, so I don't have to go and work in an office that is like got awful fluorescent lighting and noises. That sounds like a nightmare. You know what would sound like the worst job ever is going into co-op and like you've got all the self-service machines that are all talking at once all the time.
It's funny, I've actually heard of your band.
You see the TikTok clip?
I think so, yeah, and like me and my ex-girlfriend used to go to a lot of gigs.
I'm in a band called Cheap Dirty Horse. We're a folk punk band from Nottingham. Like it's a pretty niche genre of folk punk, but like within that community, we're like popular enough where we do get to tour pretty much all the time. We're all neurodiverse and like we all kind of take care of each other that way. And we go and we like play shows up and down the country and like we have a huge autistic audience, like loads of neurodiverse kids come to our shows. And so like that's created a bit of a safe space. I'm pretty lucky that way in that like I've shifted my day to day to fit what works for me and my neurodiverse friends.
So what I'll do to start off with is I'll literally just do like the teeniest little bit just to ease you into it so that I'm not going.
It's been a few years.
Straight in. It's difficult because I've been out to the closest people in my life for a few years now, but I only changed my name and only went very, very public with it last week. The more I heard my old name, the more it kind of hit me in the gut a little bit every time. So it was like, no, I think it's actually time to be a little bit more stern with it and be like, no, this is who I am. When I thought about being referred to as Teddy, this is really like kind of soppy, but it literally made me feel warm inside. So how long have you been out as trans then, if you don't mind me asking?
So I came out when I was about 13. I was going to an all-girls Catholic school.
Oh, wow.
They had no policies in place. It was very entertaining. The senior leadership sat me down and heavily recommended I not come out. Because it would make things difficult for me. Not technically implying they would make things difficult. You know, very much the tone of voice was like, oh, we're just protecting you from the bullies, but yeah, they made things difficult.
I can't even begin to imagine how difficult that must have been for him, and I'm so proud of him that he managed to come through it and that he managed to like advocate for himself and stand for his truth, because I know in a lot of those scenarios people are pushed back into the closet because other people don't want to deal with the awkwardness and the uncomfortableness of like, so how do we navigate this moving forward?
Came out, I was like, I realised gender vibes were going on. Looking back, should have known since I was like 5, but you know, I didn't have the words for it.
This is it. Like
first time I met a trans person was this woman called Luna.
Yeah.
I sort of had my eyes opened, and it's like that's an option.
It was literally exactly the same for me.
Oh, yeah.
Like exactly the same. Gender euphoria is an unmatched feeling. It's incredible. And I really, truly hope that every single person on the planet experiences it at some point, because you don't have to be trans to experience gender euphoria. You can be cis and be happy with your new hairstyle or your new clothing. Oh, it's a great feeling. It's incredible. I literally just had always felt kind of disconnected from the fact that I was like, quote unquote, a girl or a woman. And I just thought it was because I wasn't a societally acceptable, like, feminine woman. I just thought, like, oh yeah, I'm just not feminine.
My mum being very butch and very gender non-conforming. All the things that I sort of, as a teenager, was sort of saying, she was like, well, yeah, but that's normal. You're just a young, you know, feminism. Yes, obviously you can do all these things. And yes, if you want to get a buzz cut in year 9, I just shaved my head in year 9. She was like, yeah, cool. I did the same when I was a few years older than you. It's all good.
Love that.
Like, so like none of the like stereotypical warning signs happened.
Yeah.
I always love the bit where I mention I'm trans. People look at me with this mixture of like, they're trying to compliment me by saying they couldn't tell, but they're not sure if that's the right thing to say.
Yes, yeah.
Which is very fun. Like, I don't mind. People are very chill. I've honestly had so few negative experiences lately.
getting those bits of transition that you want, dysphoria or not, getting whatever you need to make your body yours. It's the same with tattoo, right? It's your body, you do something to make you love it more, right? You know?
Definitely. This is it, like, one thing that has always baffled me is how against gender affirming surgery certain people are and gender affirming acts in general, when every single cis person on the planet does gender affirming things for themselves all the time. It makes me really happy that, like, myself and obviously everybody here is such a safe space for these people, because the amount of stories we get from clients, like trans clients, queer clients, intersex clients, where they have had horrible experiences at other studios purely because of their gender, and it breaks my heart. You deserve to be treated with love and respect, and hopefully that is what you find when you do come out. But if you don't find that, you can always come and say hi, because we'll look after you and we'll love you and we'll accept you no matter what. And parents, just listen to your kids, like just listen to them. Just tell them that you love them and tell them that you support them, because that's what they need. They don't need you to put on the bells and whistles. They don't need you to go the 9 yards. They just need you to say, okay, I love you, how can I help? So support your kids. Be nice to your kids, because they need it more than you think they do. And be their biggest supporter, because it's your only job is to support that child. So you should do so, no matter what. I will just promise live that. So I'm sure you would be very happy to know, dude, that we are all finished.
We've been lying down for like
peeking
2
down, haven't
hours,
you?
so
Well, we've been doing
I'm
it.
ready for a nap, but I'm very excited. And obviously I can see it with a bit of a weird angle.
Getting to know Sebastian was super lovely. He's so nice, he's so easy to talk to. It can feel very isolating to struggle with things like being neurodiverse and being trans, so it's nice to get that reminder from people in the real world in person that you aren't actually going through it on your own. And even though our experience may not be like page for page exactly the same, we both know how it feels. We're a little bit swollen and a little bit angry and all those white highlights at the moment, but that'll all settle down really nicely, and it'll just heal nice and softly, especially all these shadows.
Yeah, there's a lot less red than I was expecting, to be fair.
There's a massive overlap between the queer community and people with neurodiversity. If society has already told you that you experience the world differently to the rest of us, to normal people, and you've already started questioning some of the base rules that you were told growing up. You are a boy, you will grow up, you will like girls. These things are good, these things are bad. And some of those things you grow up and you realise are wrong. Maybe you're not the gender they said you were, maybe you don't love the people they said you would. Then you start questioning the other things, and vice versa. If everyone around you says supermarkets and going shopping in a shopping centre is a fun and relaxing activity, and to you it's an absolute hellscape of overstimulation, you start questioning what else they were wrong about.
I think that's a cute placement there. I like that you can see the star at the front and everything, like all her face as well. Yeah, if you want to check it out in the mirror.
Look how cute she is. Ah!
The band's weird. It's like if you imagine a punk band, but they haven't discovered. It's like if Billy Bragg was a chronically online trans femme, you know what I mean? Like, it's weird, and it's all about queer joy, self-acceptance, growth, coming into your own. Like, that's sort of like the main themes of the stakes of this band.
Okay, are you ready?
Let's go, baby.
I'd say I'm queer just because I feel like that label suits me the best. More so like I'd normally say maybe bisexual or pansexual, but I know the terms, I've heard different things, like the term bisexual excludes trans people or vice versa sort of thing, so but I'd just say queer just to cover all. I don't care what's in people's pants. I really don't care. Like, it's just people's personality that I'm drawn to.
She represents like a lifelong special interest.
She's a femme queen.
She is. She's an icon.
She's iconic. I
Um,
like
the
is it
only
Daisy,
monarch
the
that
other
I'm
one?
into. Daisy's the gay one.
Yeah, that's what. What's your favourite Mario game?
Definitely Mario 64.
So I've never played that.
I played
I
it.
think I'm missing out.
I just played it to death. Like I just like was obsessed. So my mum ended up getting me my own Nintendo 64, and like Mario 64 was the only game that I had on it for years.
Yeah.
And I would just play it obsessively. How I went undiagnosed is
Yeah.
well, it's, tell you what it is. It's because
It's
if you've got like
always
undiagnosed parents, then they go, "Oh, that's normal."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
True. Yeah.
I think my mum didn't speak until she was like 11 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a big one. But
It's
it's,
like-
yeah, it's so like brushed past. Like, oh, a lot of people, like, autism didn't exist back in my day, and they collect stamps and plates and stuff. And it's
Yeah,
just
we didn't have
like-
autism, but your granddad has a special chair that he will cry if you sit in.
Yeah. I believe I have ADHD, probably autism too, but more so ADHD, so I've kind of been coming to terms with that. I need to go through the process of actually getting the diagnosis. My dad was just diagnosed with it, which was kind of a kick up the arse for me to do it. He's been really supportive, but yeah, he's been coming to terms with it all as well, especially being diagnosed so late. I saw that tattoo you've got on your forearm of the lion. What was that? Is that inspired by something, or?
Well, I got that for my kid Leo.
Oh. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, they are a Leo, which is helpful.
Yeah.
But I named them after a Ninja Turtle. So
Yes.
I love being a parent, especially to Leo. They are just the sickest kid. They're so funny. They're just so chill. Like, I got really lucky. I don't know what I'd do if they were like a shit kid. Because like, he'd still love them, I guess. But like, I don't know. Like, I'm really lucky that they're like the best kid ever. They use they, them pronouns. No one's really said much. Like, it's super normal, I think. Like, I don't know what it's like at school for them. I don't know if that's something that they've like asked teachers or friends to do. I don't know. This like right-wing idea of like let kids be kids, stop pushing trans ideology. I am letting the kid be a kid. Like, if they change their mind and they go, actually no, I'm not, I was actually just like doing that because my parents trans and I was copying them. That's all. Okay, cool. Like, they can go back to using he, him. Nothing happens. It's okay. They'll just have a better understanding of who they are, and they'll feel safe to like be who they are around their family because they let them do that.
yeah, I got it before I came out as trans when Leo was about 3 years old.
Yeah.
And I obviously changed my name. So now I'm panicking. It's like, oh, I've got their name tattooed on me. What if they change their name? Oh,
Yeah.
fuck. I'm gonna have to get it removed and replaced
It's
with their
still
name.
like the star sign, though, isn't it? So-
Yeah, it's still a star sign.
This idea as well that like trans people have to know and do it once and do it well and be done. So you can transition it, but you have to do it in a binary way, and you have to pass, and you have to do it this way. Like, I don't always feel like shaving, but that doesn't mean that like, that's just because that's just, I have hair on my face. It's just a thing that people have. It doesn't mean I'm not trying, it doesn't mean I'm not actually trans, it doesn't mean anything, you know what I mean? And this idea that like, kids are like that kids have to do a certain, just leave it, stop, calm down, it's not that deep.
That's cool. I feel like society is getting better when like kids are able to be themselves.
I think
Makes me
so.
happy.
I think you just have to let. It's like the opposite of what conservatives would mean if they say let kids be kids.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Let them experiment. Like, you know, no one's talking about no one's talking about surgeries.
Yeah, no one's forcing anything
we're
on
just
them.
we're just talking about words.
It's
you know.
just an open conversation. I'd say neurodiverse people tend to be more open-minded about genders or anything really. They do tend to be more open-minded about that type of stuff. I'm not sure why, but I guess our brains just work differently and we are just more creative. I feel like you've done a lot for the community, like with your music and stuff.
Thank you. Like, there's little moments where I really feel like what we're doing matters.
I like the song that we did called Protect Trans Kids. We always play that last. And it's got this big, massive drum solo at the end of it. But it's the one everyone goes nuts for, you know. With that and On the Rob. Which is like the big one that got popular online, is the reason that we get to tour and everything is because we had a bit of a viral hit with that song.
We were playing Manchester like earlier last year, and we had like some kids come up and they was talking to Finn, who plays in the band, and they were saying like, you know, thank you for creating a safe space, and Finn was just in tears, and was just like sobbing. It was a really, really nice moment.
Everyone in the band is queer and neurodivergent, and we're very, very lucky to have met them all. I met Finn, who plays acoustic guitar, just by like chance, because he put an ad out online that he wanted to like join a band, and if I hadn't have met him, none of this would have happened. Amy, who plays the banjo in our band, me and her have been friends for like 15 years. She's like my sister. This band is definitely like a chosen family. We do take care of each other. Because of the neurodiversity, we all have to be more aware of each other, and know when each other's stressed and like understand each other a bit better. Because it's really stressful touring, and so people need to be taken care of in a special way, you know, sometimes.
Yeah, we're all finished. Just going to pop some soap on it so it helps draw out some of the redness. It's the hardest part, doing the stencil and getting a good picture.
So it looks like it's been...
They're like my favourite colours as well. Pink. Cool, so let you have a look in the mirror.
I'm over the moon, I really, really am. I don't have, that's like my first tattoo, that's like really nice and well done by a professional, and it's gorgeous, and it was really easy. I mean, look at it, it's adorable. It really means a lot, like, it represents like a real lifelong special interest. It's really nice to have it there. It feels very femme and girly. It's nice and affirming. Well, I'm going to go show my band members, and they're going to be archived, so that's why you were late today. But it was worth it, because how amazing it is.
Amazing. You going to show Leo?
Of course I'm going to show Leo, and they're going to scream. They're going to look how cute! We share Mario together, so that's something that we do. We play games together, we love Minecraft, we love Mario, so I think they'll be gassed on it too. I've really enjoyed getting my tattoo, I've really enjoyed getting to talk about neurodivergence, my lived experience, and getting to hear from Robin about her experience, and hear from everyone else that's been hanging out today. It's been a really fun and special day, and I'm really glad I got to be a part of it, for sure.